Hey everyone, it's Joel from Geek Studios, and this is your weekly mini charge episode. We hope everyone is having a fantastic week. Today, we're talking about a defining moment for Rivian and possibly for the entire EV startup ecosystem. Rivian is projecting a significant delivery increase in 2026, driven primarily by the launch and production ramp of its new R2 platform. But this isn't just about more cars leaving a factory. This is about whether a modern EV startup can scale manufacturing efficiently, reduce per unit losses, compete against the one and only Tesla on cost, also compete against legacy automakers on reliability, and survive in a capital disciplined market. That's a lot of things to check off their list. The EV industry has shifted from growth at any cost to prove you can make money. Rivian's R2 launch is happening at exactly that moment. So today we're breaking down the R1 area and what it taught Rivian, the R2 platform strategy in granular detail, the competitive battlefield, financial runway and margin math, macro risks in investor psychology, and the long-term applications. So we got a lot on our plate today. Let's dive in. Rivian's first products, the R1T and the R1S, proved the company could build real vehicles at meaningful scale. The R1T wasn't vaporware. It wasn't a concept. It shipped, and it shipped with serious performance credentials. The strengths of the R1 platform included quad motor performance architecture, large battery packs with really good range, adventure focused, OTA software update capability, and vertical integration in key drivetrain systems. Customer enthusiasm was real. Early owners often praised the driving dynamics, interior quality, and ruggeding positioning. Sebastian and I have both driven these vehicles, and we love them. But structurally, the R1 platform had a major issue. It was engineered for capability, not cost efficiency. Large battery packs, premium materials, complex assembly processes. When you combine high material costs with lower production volume, per unit losses become difficult to overcome, and this is what we call burning through your cash. Factories are expensive to operate. Low plant utilization drives high fixed costs per vehicle. The R1 built credibility, but it couldn't deliver true scale economics. And that's where the R2 becomes extremely important. You see, the Rivian R2 represents a philosophical shift. This vehicle isn't designed primarily to impress early adopters. It's designed to scale efficiently. First, it's looking at marketing positioning. The R2 targets the mid-size SUV category, one of the highest volume segments in the automotive market. This is where families shop. This is where commuters shop. This is where mainstream buyers like you and me compare monthly payments carefully. A lower entry price dramatically expands Rivian's total addressable market, and volume is what enables high margin improvement. They also have simplified manufacturing. The R2 platform focuses heavily on cost discipline. Key design priorities reportedly include reduced wiring complexity, fewer electronic control modules, modular battery architecture, higher parts commonality, and a simplified structural integration. Tesla pioneered many of these simplification strategies years ago. Rivian is now applying similar cost down principles to its second generation platform. Also with the R2, you have a battery strategy. Battery cost remains the largest variable input in EV manufacturing. The R2 is expected to balance range competitiveness, energy density, and cost per kilowatt hour. Optimizing battery chemistry flexibility and supplier leverage becomes critical at higher volumes. This is why you'll see the 400-volt architecture on this car. If Rivian can secure more favorable cell pricing, Through increased production commitments, per unit economics improve meaningfully. That's why delivery growth directly impacts margin potential. The R2 is also entering a very competitive war zone. And at the top sits the Tesla Model Y. Tesla's advantages include large scale manufacturing, mature battery supply chain, vertical integration, direct sales, efficiency, and cost optimization experiences. Tesla has already undergone years of cost reduction cycles. Rivian is now entering that phase. We also have some legacy competition. Traditional automakers are also competing aggressively in this midsize SUV segment. They bring to the table the extensive dealer networks, which some people love and some people do not love, nationwide service infrastructure, established fleet relationships, and financing capabilities. Mass market buyers care deeply about service access and repair turnaround times. Scaling service infrastructure quickly will be critical for Rivian. They got to get more service centers out there. Brand identity matters, but reliability and convenience matter more in the mainstream segment. And also, it's about margins. Automotive profitability is driven by four primary levers: fixed cost absorption, gross margin per vehicle, volume, and inventory management. If Rivian significantly increases deliveries in 2026, fixed factory costs spread across more units. Supplier contracts improve with scale. Logistics efficiency improves, and brand awareness expands. But volume alone isn't enough. Margins must improve in parallel. If production scales, but per unit losses remain high, the financial picture doesn't stabilize. What are investors going to watch for? Those quarterly gross margin trends, the cash burn rate, operating expense discipline, and production guidance accuracy. Execution consistency will matter more than headline delivery spikes. We also have some macro conditions and demand. Macro conditions remain a major variable. Interest rates influence monthly vehicle payments, consumer financing decisions, and lease affordability. See a lot more EV leases come down the road. When rates are elevated, buyers become more cautious with large purchases. Consumer confidence also plays a role. Vehicle purchases are often deferred during economic uncertainty, kind of like what we have now. Additionally, charging infrastructure reliability continues to influence buyer comfort levels. We're seeing improvements in charging infrastructure. Consumers may accept EV technology, but they demand convenience parity with gasoline vehicles. Rivian must ensure customers feel confident in ownership experience, not just vehicle capability. The broader EV industry has shifted into what I call the execution era. Capital markets are no longer rewarding ambition alone. They reward operational efficiency, margin discipline, production, and demand predictability. Rivian is one of the few EV startups with a functioning production facility, established customer base, recognizable brand identity, and real delivery history. That provides a competitive foundation. But scaling from tens of thousands of vehicles annually to mass market volume is the most difficult step in automotive manufacturing. We've seen a lot of EV startups over the last year fizzle away because they could not get down the manufacturing process. This is the steps where these startups struggle. If Rivian navigates this phase successfully, it becomes a durable player in the EV landscape. If not, its pressure will intensify quickly. All right, so here's the bottom line. The R1 proved Rivian can build a desirable premium vehicle. The R2 must prove Rivian can build a scalable business. If 2026 delivers higher production volume, improving margins, controlled operating expenses, and consistent execution, Rivian transitions from startup narrative to sustainable contender. If execution falters, the margin for error narrows. Either way, this is one of the most important EV stories to watch this year, and we'll be tracking every delivery update. All right, that's your mini charge episode for the week. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube and consider becoming a paid member. It's just $5 a month, y'all. That's the price of a cup of coffee or a cheap cheeseburger, and you get early access to all of our content while also supporting our channel. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, tap that follow button and leave us a quick rating and comment. It really helps the show grow. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay charged and stay geeky.